Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons podcast with me, your host, Ken. I'm a retired teacher documenting my hobby journey here on the pod, finding teachable moments to share with all of you along the way. Don't forget to hit me up on social media on Instagram at sportscard_lessons. Hit the follow button. And you can also find me on YouTube by searching Sports Card Lessons. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend, spread the word. Welcome, everybody, to a pop up episode. I'll still have Friday's episode interview with sports card therapists, but I just had enough content from over the weekend. I thought I would shoot out an extra episode, kind of test the waters a little bit, possibly, doing extra episodes when I do have enough content. I did talk about going to National, that I'll be doing a couple episodes that week. So I know I have the interview Friday, so I really wouldn't be able to talk about trade night and my pickups over the weekend. So hey, I just figured I'd get this episode out there. So in this first ever Monday episode, I just wanted to share trade night, my pickups from trade night. I received the card I talked about last week, my weekend holiday weekend steal. I received that card in the mail, so I'm excited about that. I'll share that with you. But before I start, I have to apologize. I know I butcher names, and it's just something I sometimes when I just read a name and as I'm saying it, as that name is coming out of my mouth, I know it's wrong. I don't know why I do that. And as a teacher, I learned early on when I would look and I'd say, I'm probably not going to get this right. I would look at the student and I'd say, hey, how do you pronounce this? And let them tell me. And it was much easier. So yes, please bear with me. My apologies. I know with names in the hobby, some of them I'm spot on, but others I'm way off. So my apologies. So let's jump into it. Trade night, Friday night over at JA Sports. It was a great time over there. Lots of deals getting done. Huge shout out to Alan and Josh and Jeremiah and Lucas. They went all out over there. They did a great job preparing and setting up the shop for trade night. You know, when I'm there almost every day, I'll stop in there and chat with the guys. And I walked in for trade night, and they had it transformed. They had tables everywhere, tables set up. It was great. I mean, it was really comfortable. It's a smaller store, but you wouldn't have known it the way they set it up. When they set the tables and the chairs up, it was really comfortable just to go in and lay out all your cards, set your cases up, let people go through them. They definitely did a great job. They had pizza over there, which was a big hit, drink refreshments. They had raffles, rips, 10% discount on a good amount of the product in the store. They had a spin the wheel for other prize giveaways. It was a great time, and it was just a great way to spend a Friday night. I just had a really great time. Saw some familiar faces. I met some new people. Shout out to Zip Cards coming down. I know it was kind of a drive for you to come down, and it was great to see you, and had a great time hanging out. The Cardboard Collaborative, we talked about him a few weeks ago. He's my neighbor. He came down. It was great to see him over there. Sports card therapist, he got down there, made a few deals. Even going to throw a shout out to Scott 06902. I talked about Scott a few weeks ago. Made a deal with him. It took almost an hour to make the deal, and it was a hard fought deal. And he was there Friday night, and Scott's a great guy, and he loves his cards. And I think with Scott, he just does not, even though and he's got a case full of fire, but it's hard for him to let a card go. And that's what I've really realized, why, trying to make another deal with him here on Friday night that just never got done. And we were so close, but I just don't think he wanted to let that card go. I think the deal was right, but I just didn't think he wanted to let the card go. And a couple other people were trying to make deals with him, and I just think he likes his cards too much that it's hard for him to to part with them. So shout out to you, Scott, for coming. And I know it was quite a drive for you as well. So the pickups I made, we talked on last week's episode. I made a couple deals I was excited about. And I'm not going to rehash the everything, but I did trade the 2021 Obsidian, the Tua patch. See, I only said Tua on that. There's my last name. I'm glad he's such a recognizable guy, which is Tua, that I don't have to try to struggle with his last name. But the 2021 Obsidian Tua patch auto to 15, and the Walter Payton downtown, the SGC 95. I traded those for the Mac Jones Panini 1 day one on card auto to 25. And I also traded the Justin Herbert and the Tua, both Mosaic NFL debut PSA 10s, and I traded those for a Mac Jones Silver Prism variation. So those were the two cards I traded for last week. So I show up at trade night, I set my box up, and I talked about that Mac Jones Panini 1 day one card last week, that it comes from Panini sealed, and if you open it to see if it's gradable and then you don't get it graded, people are gonna first words they're gonna say, "What's wrong with it?" And if you leave it sealed, then you just have to sell it raw, so you'll never really know, because you really need to take the card out in order to know if it's going to grade well or not. So it's just when you get a card like that, it's just kind of a funny card to own. And I talked about this last week, and I put the case out there, and Zip Cards, was there when I showed up. He started going through, and he said, "Oh, this is a nice card, but what's wrong with it?" And he pulled out the Mac Jones day one, and I said, "What do you mean? What's wrong with it?" And he said, "Well, I know it came sealed and it's opened and it didn't go to grading." And I said, "No, that's a sealed card." And he said, "No, that this card's been opened." And he showed me there was a little, like a razor slit on that seal. So here is my lesson for the week, is to really pay more attention. Sometimes when you're in the middle of a deal, you overlook certain things, and I had a number of people look at that card and nobody noticed. Nobody noticed that card had been opened. He pointed out that card had been opened, and he could see it had been opened. But I didn't, and a number of other people didn't. So my lesson here to me, and I'm going to throw that out there, when you're making a deal in a card like this, I would examine it. Make sure I'm going to examine them a little bit better. This was something I completely overlooked, and I felt right there that maybe the value of that card, even though, like, I lifted the top off and looked at it. I didn't take the card out to grade it, but the card still looked like it would have been a gradable card. But if it wasn't a gradable card, then I felt the value would have been lower because the case had already been opened. Just my thoughts on that. I know other people may think differently, but that's just my thoughts on that. So I ended up trading that card, that Mac Jones card. I ended up making a deal for that card at trade night. I didn't want to let it go, and I was fighting with myself, like really fighting with myself on that card. Like, I was mad at myself because I didn't see it had been opened. I felt I would get good value for it either way, but probably better value for it if it hadn't been opened. So I'm going to give a shout out to Greg, who's on Instagram at Hollakid619, HOLLAKID 619. I ended up making a deal with him. So we were going through each other's cases, and he immediately pulled this card out and said, "I like this card. I want this card. Do you see anything in my case that you would want to make a deal for?" And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm a little excited and I'm a little like feeling a little bit like Scott. Like, I don't know if I really want to let this card go. So I went through his case and I really didn't see much. And he said, well, hold on, I've got some more down here. Kind of tucked away that they weren't in the one touches, they were just in top loaders. And then he pulled out some fire cards, and then I realized, and it's funny. It was a great thing to do because I think to myself when I go to these things, like I really don't want to bring my higher end cards. Like when I go to a trade night, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. Like if there's really something you want to be able to pull out a few high end cards, pull a little fire out, and say, all right, I've got something that I could move into that. But for the most part, like a lot of us, and I talk about my stale cards and things like that. For the most part, I think we want to move the cards that we want to get rid of, right? We're hoping that we can, we have some cards in here and we know in our mind, like these cards right here, I would like to move these cards into something better. And I would not really want to trade these other cards unless it really, really came down to it. So I understand. And it was a great setup the way he had it. Like I didn't even go to the top loader stuff because when I'm trading, I generally like to I like to buy into a graded card, a PSA graded card, or trade into it because that I can sleep like a baby at night, right? I don't have to worry. Is there a bad corner? Is there a print line? Is there something I missed? I mean, if this thing's already graded, I don't have to worry about it. I can take it and I know exactly 100% what it is. And when you start getting into the one touches and the top loaders, you have no idea. I'm an older guy. I'm usually asking other people, hey, look at this card because there's things that, my eyes miss when I'm looking at these cards. But he did pull out, I'm going to show it to you here. It's a silver prism, this year's 2021 prism silver Justin Herbert auto. And I'm going to hold that up. If you're on YouTube, you'll see it. Just a beautiful card. Um, Comps on that one sold for 1,010, and then there was one out of buy it now for 900. Um, and then there was one for a buy it now at 895. Somebody went $5 under, which I see that happen all the time. I think that's so annoying and petty on eBay. But so we're figuring it's probably around an $800 to $900 card. And I know the week before the comps on my card were about 530, 540, and I said to Greg, what's it going to take? And I'm thinking, maybe I need to reach in my pocket and pull a little money out. I said, what's it going to take to get the deal done? We had the two cards sitting down there, and then he grabbed the Mac Jones silver prism, and he dropped it on. And he said, I believe this will do it. We shook hands. The deal was done. He took both cards that I traded for last week, and I took the Justin Herbert. And it's interesting because we talk about trading, and I've talked on a number of episodes who got the best deal, this and that. We were both pretty honest talking about the cards. He asked me, I know he got this card in a break. So he probably didn't have a whole lot into that particular break. I know we spent a lot of money. If we're in breaks, we spend a lot of money on breaks. And then when we get that one card, we say, well, that one card cost us this much because that's what that break cost. But in the overall, I think we end up paying for these cards anyways. But for him and in his mind, he got this in a break. He wasn't into it, for 100% of the comps. And I wasn't into my cards for 100% of the comps. I traded into those cards. So I think it was just a great deal for both of us. It was a win-win. And I got something that I wanted. He got something that he wanted. And I think he was more excited about the Mac Jones card than I was about the Justin Herbert. But as you know, we talk about here and I show you, and if you go to my Instagram, I've got a ton. I've got a row plus behind me here of Mac Jones autos. And I have one Justin Herbert auto. So adding another Justin Herbert auto, I was pretty excited about, and I was okay to let the Mac Jones go. Um, so my next deal, I made a deal with a young kid at the store, Alex. I see him in the shop regularly. He had, which I watched this pulled on a break. His dad actually got this on a break. It's a Mac Jones Prism Green Hyper, number to 175, and I'm holding that up right now. Another nice card. Um, that the comps, of mid-June when this card first came out were around $600. Now the comps are down to about $300. Between 280, 305, something like that. I'm not sure if they're going to drop down more. They may drop down more. I traded him. I had a Patrick Mahomes Stat Smasher. It was a certified Stat Smasher, super short print. It was a SGC 10. The comps on that were about $125. I did that plus 200 cash for the Mac Jones Green Hyper. I probably could have worked them a little harder and got a little bit of a better deal. But it was getting late in the evening and I had to go, and I liked the card, and it was well worth it for me just to pick this one up. And I really think both of these cards, um, the Green Hyper will definitely be a card that I think I'll sell very quick at either the next show or at National, because I think that's in that sweet spot price range for a good percentage of the people that come to the shows. Like that's something that they can afford to buy into and get a deal on, or it could be trade bait too. Just kind of like I picked it up. And the Justin Herbert too. I think that'll be a liquid card. I mean, I think there's a lot of Herbert fans out there, and he's kind of proven himself already. Um, I think that card should be a little liquid too. I mean, the only thing I ever worry about, especially with the Prism, is um, I see the prices coming down. I see the prices. So like you can go back and you can look at the comps and you could see the prices coming down from when the product first came out to now the market's getting a little more flooded with these cards. I talked about getting a Trey Lance on card auto in a break. I not on card, just a Prism, Silver Prism auto in a break. And when the card was pulled in June, it was selling at $1,800. By the time it got shipped to me and I got it in my hand, the price was at $1,000. It already dropped 800, and now the price I think is probably between 7 and 900 on that card, which is still great. I mean, especially getting a card in a break, but it just shows that the prices of these things are continuing to drop. And I'm not saying it's dropping because of the economy. These things are just dropping because there's more and more of them coming out in the market. Like I just talked about earlier with the Herbert, on eBay, when someone says buy it now at 900 and the next guy goes up and says buy it now at 895. I mean, and if I wanted to, I could say buy it now at 850, right? I could throw it up there and try to, and this is what happens with the market, and this is why when it starts to get flooded, the prices go down, because people are getting these in breaks and they just want to get money out of it. It's not like they spent $1,500 on the box and then opened it up and got this card and said, you know what, I'd like to get $1,800, because in all intent and purposes, it was a case, right? It was a case hit because you get one rookie quarterback auto per case, right? So this was I'm sorry, per box. Is it box or case? Whatever it is. But it I think it's per box. But I'm just saying that would be. I've seen a bunch of those boxes opened up that that the RPA was just terrible. It was like a Dwayne Eskridge or something like that. That nobody'd be interested. So when you pull a nice card like that, if you spend that money on the box to buy that box for $1,500 and you open it up and you pull this card out, if you want to sell the card, you want to at least get your money back for the box, and because it's a great pull. But with these breaks, these people aren't spending the money for the box. They're just buying into the breaks. So I think their value in their mind is, hey, if I can get 800 or 700 or 500 for this card, I can buy into a bunch more breaks and hope for something better. So that's just my thought on that. And I'm just going to kind of go one step further. Um, when it comes to comps on a card. So I talked about last weekend, that Monday holiday, that buying a card, going on and finding a card and buying it on late Sunday. And I did that last weekend. I talked about in the last episode. I got this Zach Wilson. It's an XRC BGS 9.5, and I'm holding that up, and just a beautiful card. So the PSA 10 version of this sells for about 630 to 700, right in that area. This card is a pop 3, and when I looked this card up on Alt last weekend, the comps Alt had the comp of this card at $580. And when I was looking at the bidding, the car at that time, I think it was about $212 to 214, and then I think it was about 285 with a few hours to go. I ended up getting the card for $300 or $313, which to me was that was a great pickup at a 580 comp for a $313 card. There's a lot of room in there if I want to turn that card over, if I want to sell that card. But the interesting thing is, it's a pop 3. The interesting thing is a week later, I go back to Alt, and now the Alt value has dropped down to 325. On that one sale, I bought that card, the Alt value has dropped down to 325. Is it a $325 card? No, absolutely not. And I think most people will know. So all it took was one low sale on eBay, which dropped this card over $200. The value of this card over $200. So it's very interesting. I felt like I moved a market, right? I felt like I did this. And I talk about, if you go on eBay, and we've talked about it, if you buy a card cheap, that becomes the comp. But if this is the comp of this card right now, then I'm just holding it, right? Because I'm not going to sell this card at 325. I know not if the PSA 10s are selling between $600 and $700, and this is a BGS 9.5. I think people will look at that and say, "Geez, I wonder why they've got this so low," and then start calculating it against a PSA 10. I know I would, so I'm not really that worried about that. We also talked about, I was subbing my cards down at JA Sports. Josh down there looks the cards over, gives me recommendations. My first 5 cards were all PSA 10s. Very excited. My number 6 card, also PSA 10 and Auto 10. So I'm going to hold this up. It was a Saka. It's a Saka soccer card. Say that 3 times fast. Just holding that up so you can see it. Another great young player. Few people were very excited about that card at trade night. The problem is it's a pop 1. There's really no comps on it. And at this point, I'm kind of left to make up a price on it. There is one I think it was a BGS 10 that somebody has up for sale for $1,000. So I would have to imagine this is at right now, and until that card sells at something different, it's $1,000 card. But I really don't know. I won't be putting this card up for sale until the fall, anyways, and I may even hold it longer than that. Then that was card 6. So card 7, we broke the streak. Card 7 got a 9, PSA 9. And this was the Mac Jones My House hollow mosaic. And I'll hold that up there. That was really kind of a nice card. And I know on these clearly Don Russ cards, they're very hard to grade. They're very low pops because people don't send them in. I also, just before I started taping of this episode here, I did get a message from the shop that the only other card I have down there is the clearly Don Russ, Mac Jones autograph. And that also got a PSA 9 with an autograph 10. And again, I know those clearly Don Russ cards are hard. They're hard to grade. Those cards are hard to grade. Not many PSA 10s in those cards. But I'm excited. I'm excited about both these cards. I think again, both these cards are probably going to be liquid. They'll probably sell pretty quick. So they're all coming back just at the right time right now. Just I have a show in New Jersey, and in fact, let's just talk about that. The upcoming shows. Um, Actually, no. Before I get into that upcoming shows, there's one more thing I want to talk about. I want to thank everybody who reached out with the redemption advice just from Friday. I had a number of people who just sent me messages, and somebody even sent me a link to somebody's Instagram that they had just received a white box, and I guess that's the replacement comes in a white box. I'm I, I don't know 100% the process of this, but they were all excited to get this box, and everybody was like, "Rip it, rip it, rip it." And a few people said to him, "I would just sell the box because it's probably worth more sealed than open because the cards that come inside are extra. They're cards that were printed over and beyond the regular run of cards, and the value of them are never as high as the actual cards themselves that came in the original print." And then he directed to an article that I kind of read, and people were disappointed that they traded, redemption cards for. They're again, in the article, it was people who were disappointed, um, and maybe that's the way they wanted the article to read. But I think I understood enough to know that if you have the card that was originally printed in that set, there's more value to that than a replacement than Panini could give you. So at this time, I believe I will be holding the Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to keep that redemption for now. Stay tuned. Okay, upcoming shows. Garden State, that's next Saturday at the Hilton, Hasbrook Heights in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. I will be there. Looking forward to seeing my friends down that way that I haven't seen in a while. National, July 28th to the 31st. Excited about that. And I'm also excited to add another one here to the list, East Coast National, August 26th, 27th, and 28th in Suffern, New York at the Rockland Community College Fieldhouse. 500 tables. Very excited about that. I'll be set up there with my good friend Rob Gerard, sports card therapist, and he's going to be on the show Friday, and we're going to be talking about this a little bit. So we'll share all that news with you. So yeah, Friday, tune in, interview sports card therapist. Should be great. You don't want to miss that. We're going to shut this first ever Monday episode down, and hopefully there'll be more in the future. If you like this, if you enjoy the extra content and the extra episode a week, just give me a shout out. Let me know. I'm here for you. You let me know what you like, and I'll try to provide it for you. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and if you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, be good to yourselves and everyone around you.